Greetings friends and welcome to my time-lapse build of the Revell 1/72nd scale T-90 MBT. I began by assembling the hull using TAMIYA cement and reinforced the joints with Mr. Cement S. Most of the hull parts went together very nicely, as this is a new tooled kit. The front armor popped off while I test fitted it, so I made sure to hold it tightly while gluing it on to stop it from falling off. The rear armor, on the other hand, went on nicely with no issues. The drive sprockets came in 3 parts and went together easily with some TAMIYA cement. While they dried, I began assembling the turret. I glued on the back end with some TAMIYA cement, then the front with some Mr. Cement S. The gun was then glued onto the MacLeod. I removed the fuel tanks from the sprue with my hobby knife and glued them together with Mr. Cement S. I did this because it would eliminate any seam lines, as they would be difficult to sand once assembled. After they dried, I attached them to the hull with some TAMIYA cement. Because this kit has a skill level of 5, it has many small parts which needs to be attached to the turret. This was easy to do with the help of tweezers and SUPERGLUE. TAMIYA cement. After letting all of the glue dry for 24 hours, I began painting the model. The base coat consisted of 5 parts GUNZE H71 RAF dark green mixed with 3 parts TAMIYA XF2 flat white. I found that I added too much thinner, so I wiped it off with a tissue and applied a thicker coat of the same mixture of paint, which fixed the problem. I also found that using a thinner brush was better, as the larger one tended to apply the paint too thinly. The turret was slightly harder to paint because of all the small details, but the small brush made it possible. After letting the paint dry, I attached the tracks with some super glue. Because the upper tracks would be covered by the side skirts, I only applied the lower half because I'm lazy. The side skirts were then painted with the aforementioned paint mixture that was used for the base coat. Then they were attached to the tank with some super glue. I painted the camouflage scheme with a mixture of XF59 sand yellow, XF60 dark yellow, and XF1 flat white. I had to be careful when applying the camouflage as I had to go over a lot of small details. If I had not been cautious, the end result would have been very messy. The black lines were painted with GUNZE H2 gloss black. To protect the paintwork, I coated the model with TAMIYA Enamel X22 gloss varnish, which I find to be more resilient and easier to hand brush than its acrylic counterpart. The decals went on very nicely with the help of some Mr. Mark setter, and they conformed to the model very well, even without softening solution, but I applied it anyway. After adding a wash to highlight the details, I applied 2 coats of Vallejo matte varnish before applying a brown chalk filter to give the model a weathered look. I applied 2 coats of the filter to make the model look extra worn. Finally, I attached the smaller parts and the model was complete.